Located on the Zumbro River South Fork, the city of Rochester is Minnesota's third largest city and the largest city outside of the metro area. It's home to the Mayo Clinic, one of the largest and most well-known medical facilities in the country. We did a little exploring in Rochester to find out its history, how it's doing now, and to learn about its future.
Welcome aboard, folks. My name is Nick. I'll be your driver, conductor, narrator, and guide today on the Rochester City and Mayo Historical Trolley Tour. So kick back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
In 1854, a gentleman named George Head came here originally from Rochester, New York, and he brought the name with him because he thought a waterfall in the Zumbro River reminded him of the river from where he came in Rochester, New York.
Dr. William Worrell Mayo came to Rochester in 1863 as an examining physician for the Union Army. Then, over the years, his two sons joined him in his medical practice, Will Mayo and Dr. Charlie Mayo. Their story really started to heat up in 1883 when a tornado devastated most of North Rochester, and there was a call from the community for more medical services.
The father, with his two sons, asked the Sisters of St. Francis to help take care of the wounded. And coming out of that, the Mother Superior decided or thought Rochester should have a hospital. But the father really didn't think Rochester was big enough for a hospital. Typically because back then when you went to a hospital it was to die. You were either sick enough when you went in that you died or you got an infection in the hospital and died from the infection. But rather than just tell her to go away, he said if she could raise $40,000, he and his sons would staff the hospital. And lo and behold, by 1889, actually shortly before that, she raised the $40,000 and they opened St. Mary's Hospital.
Straight ahead is the St. Mary's campus. The building there with the bell tower, that's the Francis building. That stands on the site of the original 1889 building. It replaced it, was the second St. Mary's building in the early 1900s. So fairly soon they had outgrown, the original building.
Rochester's grown in spurts. I mean, it was growing steadily, but not as rapidly as the 1950s when IBM moved here. Eventually, IBM got to be over 7,000 employees. So in the 50s, IBM goosed the population quite a bit. I ask people if they can think of the four industries in Rochester, and of course, the one they always miss is agriculture. Agriculture is still huge in Rochester, and it was even bigger in the beginning. Medical is a second one. IBM is probably a third, but that's more generalized technology now. They're getting into medical technology, the clinic is. And then the fourth one is hospitality. We've got something like 6,500 hotel rooms for a city of 100,000. That's a pretty incredible ratio. But that's because 250,000 patients come through Rochester every year.
Kaler Grand Hotel on our right here is on the National Register of Historic Buildings. That went up in the 1920s.
We've had phenomenal growth here. The 2000 census, we were 85,000 something, and the 2010 census, we were 106,769. So 21,000 people in that 10-year period. So that was amazing growth. And obviously most of that is attributed to Mayo Clinic's expansions. And then of course the support services, the restaurants, hotels, everything for that. Now, at least the state demographers say, and through 2014, we're somewhere about 111,000. So the growth continues as it is. And of course, the projections now with the Destination Medical Center is that we could experience in the next 20 years even more phenomenal growth. We could potentially double the size of this city. So it's a challenge, but at the same time, I said, I think there's probably 98% of the cities in America wish they had this kind of a challenge. because it's an opportunity that we're excited about, very excited to be able to do that.
It's estimated that there are over 2.5 million visitors to Rochester each year. And one last interesting statistic is the number of Mayo employees. Here in Rochester, it's well over 32,000 now, just working in Rochester. It's over 60,000 altogether statewide, which makes Mayo the single largest private employer, not just in Rochester, but in the state of Minnesota.
Those initials, DMC, is Destination Medical Center. Mayo Clinic has said in the next 20 years they will probably spend over $3 billion in new developments and projects. They could also generate another $2 billion in other private development. And so there you got already $5.5 billion in new development. The other big district for DMC that's going to get attention right away is it's called Discovery Square, and that's really Mayo. That's going to be probably some of the biotech, biomedicine industries that are, many of them are in Boston and elsewhere, but to have them here. One of the great stories that it happens all the time. I had a reporter who was from the Wall Street Journal that was here a few years ago. She asked about some things, and I said, well, you know, here, somebody, if you're in the subway out on the street and you're asking, how do I get to here or where, more than likely, the person isn't just going to point. They may walk with you there. In her article that she wrote later, she said, the mayor told me that, but I had it happen to me personally. She said, I went and somebody said, well, come on, I'll show you where. So she said it validated exactly. He didn't just say it because it was kind of cute to say. We are a very compassionate city. It is a city of hope, health, and hospitality.